My 5-year-old knows about microtransactions. That is correct. My 5-year-old son, who has only ever played Minecraft, Mario Kart, and Halo 3 at LAN parties, knows what microtransactions are. Recently, my wife and I noticed he began talking about how much things cost. He would say things like, "This is really expensive," "This costs a lot of money," or "This costs too much money." At first, we were unsure of where this type of conversation was stemming from. We are relatively solid middle class, and money is not a huge pressure in our lives. We do have nice things, and we try to be savvy in how we spend money. The conversation about how much things cost or spending money in general does not come up around him. The only basis for a conversation around pricing my son would have originates from letting him make purchase decisions with a set amount of money to spend, working with him on making decisions based on amount of money spent against value or quantity of goods he is allowed to make a selection from. So when this recent commentary from him began about items of his being expensive, going as far as he even told someone in a store that something we had was expensive, my wife and I were perplexed. After a couple weeks of this going on, my wife and I, while sitting and playing with him one afternoon after school, began to unravel this mystery. We were playing with his Halo action figures. During this playtime, he made a comment about how expensive this gun was and that gun was. That's when my wife connected the dots. Recently, he has been coming home from school and t-ball practice talking about Fortnite. He has been asking my wife when he was going to be able to play Fortnite. Apparently, a couple of his 5-year-old peers are playing the game already. When this had started happening a couple months ago, my wife told him that he was not allowed to play Fortnite. I have the game downloaded on my Epic Store launcher and have played perhaps a dozen rounds of the game. Fortnite is not something that he has ever been exposed to in our home. Additionally, he has never been exposed to any sort of microtransaction in our household as well. We began to talk to him about why he thought that the guns that his Spartans had were expensive. The connection was made. Our son was talking about things being expensive and referencing this as a status symbol due to conversations he was having with several of his 5-year-old peers at school. His peers were talking about how much they played the game, how good they were at playing the game, and lastly, that they were buying cool things in the game. I'm sure that some of the content in these conversations that he's having is being lost in the translation back to me. At this point, he has never seen the game, and we headed down to my office so he could see what the game looked like. That was when things got a little surreal. When I loaded up the game that he has never seen and began to match up, he asked me to pick a different character. When I said I didn't have any, he asked if I could change the outfit that the character was wearing. When I said I didn't have any other outfits, he asked if I could buy one. In the small amount of video game experience that he has had over the course of his short 5-year lifespan, he has never been around a game that allows this sort of customization. I was truly in awe at how much the little guy knew about the game. It is startling to me that 5-year-old children are playing the game to such a degree that they can communicate and describe it to other children that have never played in enough detail that the child already has a rough understanding of certain functions of the game, bearing in mind they've never seen it in person. This really begs to question what other parents in the community are up to with their little children. My wife and I limit the amount of time that our son has in front of screens. This is something I have written and talked about in the past. It can quickly become an effector of attitude and behavior of a child, and we want to ensure that he has the maximum opportunities for as much development pre-K as possible before he heads into the education system. This education system is going to be granting him massive amounts of screen time and access to individual screens. It makes me shudder to think how pervasive loot boxes and microtransactions have become. These things are now part of the playground chatter and social status indicators for toddlers on the playground. Thanks as always for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I will see you next time.